The Lotus Sutra Ch.9, The Predictions for those who still have more to learn and for those who do not. At that time, Ananda and Rahula thought this, quote, "The delight we would feel if we were to receive our predictions is constantly before our minds." Then, arising from their seats and going into the presence of the Buddha, they bowed until their foreheads touched his feet and spoke to him in unison, saying, quote, "O Bhagavat, we should also be qualified to receive our predictions. Both of us take refuge only in the Tathagata. Moreover, we are well known by the devas, humans, and asuras throughout the entire world. Ananda has always attended the Tathagata, preserving the treasure house of the Dharma, and Rahula is the son of the Buddha. If the Buddha would bestow upon us the prediction of highest complete enlightenment, then our vows would be fulfilled and our wishes also realized." Then 2,000 disciples, Shravakas, some of whom still had more to learn, and some who did not, all arose from their seats and with their right shoulders bared went into the presence of the Buddha. Attentively, with palms pressed together, they gazed at the Bhagavat, all having the same wish as Ananda and Rahula, and stood to one side. Then the Buddha addressed Ananda, saying, quote, "In the future world, you will become a Buddha called Sagaradhara Buddhi Vikiriditara Jabhijna, a Tathagata, Arhat, completely enlightened, perfect in knowledge and conduct, well departed, knower of the world, unsurpassed, tamer of humans, teacher of devas and humans, Buddha, Bhagavat. You will pay homage to 62 kotis of Buddhas, preserve the treasure house of the Dharma, and ultimately attain highest complete enlightenment. Further, you will inspire 20,000s of myriads of kotis of bodhisattvas, equal in number to the sands of the Ganges River, causing them to attain highest complete enlightenment. Your land will be called Avanamita Avijanyata. It will be pure, and the earth will be made of lapis lazuli. The kalpa will be called Manojna Sabda Bigarijita. The lifespan of this Buddha will be for immeasurable, incalculable thousands of myriads of kotis of kalpas. Their number would be incalculable, even if one were to count for immeasurable, innumerable thousands of myriads of kotis of kalpas. The true Dharma will abide in the world twice as long as his lifespan, and the semblance Dharma will abide in the world twice as long as the true Dharma. O Ananda, the virtues of this Buddha, Sagaradhara Buddhi Vikiriditara Jabhijna, will be praised by immeasurable thousands of myriads of kotis of Buddha Tathagatas in the 10 directions, equal in number to the sands of the Ganges River. Thereupon, the Tathagata, wanting to elaborate on the meaning of this further, spoke these verses. I now tell the assembly that Ananda, the preserver of the Dharma, will pay homage to the Buddhas and ultimately attain complete enlightenment. He will be called the Buddha Sagaradhara Buddhi Vikiriditara Jabhijna. His land will be pure and called Avanamita Avijanyata. He will lead and inspire bodhisattvas in numbers equal to the sands of the Ganges River. This Buddha will be endowed with great virtue and dignity, and his fame will fill the 10 directions. His lifespan will be immeasurable due to his compassion for sentient beings. The true Dharma will abide twice as long as his lifespan, and the semblance Dharma will abide twice as long as the true Dharma. Countless sentient beings within the Dharma of this Buddha, equal in number to the sands of the Ganges River, will plant the seed of the Buddha path. At that time, the 8,000 bodhisattvas in the assembly, in whom the thought of enlightenment had recently awakened, all thought this, quote, "Since we have never heard the great bodhisattvas receive predictions like this, why should the Sravakas now obtain it?" Then the Bhagavat, knowing what the bodhisattvas were thinking, spoke to them, saying, quote, "O sons of a virtuous family, the thought of highest complete enlightenment once awoke simultaneously in Ananda and myself in the presence of the Buddha Dharmagaganya Bayu Gataraja. Ananda always wanted to hear a great deal about the Dharma, and I always made diligent efforts. For this reason, I was shortly able to attain highest complete enlightenment, whereas Ananda preserves my teaching and in the future will uphold the treasure house of the Dharma of all the Buddhas. He will lead, inspire, and perfect the bodhisattvas. Since this was his original vow, he has obtained this prediction." Ananda, while facing the Buddha in the audience, heard his own prediction and about the adornments of his land. His vow fulfilled, he rejoiced greatly at attaining such an unprecedented experience. With his unobstructed penetration, he immediately remembered the treasure house of the Dharma of the past immeasurable thousands of myriads of kotis of Buddhas as if he had just heard of it today. And he also became aware of his original vow. Thereupon, Ananda spoke these verses, quote, "The Bhagavat is truly extraordinary. He has enabled me to recollect the Dharma of incalculable numbers of Buddhas of the past, just as if I had first heard of the matter today. I now have no further doubts. I am established in the Buddha path. I have become an attendant of the Tathagata, and, as an attendant, I will preserve the Dharma of all the Buddhas using skillful means." Then the Buddha addressed Rahula, saying, quote, "In the future, you will become a Buddha called Saptaratna Padma Vikrama, a Tathagata, Arhat, completely enlightened, perfect in knowledge and conduct, well departed, knower of the world, unsurpassed, tamer of humans, teacher of devas and humans, Buddha, Bhagavat. You will pay homage to the Buddha Tathagatas, whose number is equal to that of the grains of dust in the 10 worlds, and you will always become the eldest son of all the Buddhas, just as you are my eldest son now. The adornments of the land, the number of disciples led and inspired, the duration of the true and semblance Dharma of this Buddha Saptaratna Padma Vikrama will be just like those of the Buddha Sagaradhara Buddhi Vikiriditara Jabhijna, without the slightest difference. You will also become the eldest son of this Buddha, and after that attain highest complete enlightenment." At that time, the Bhagavat, wanting to elaborate on the meaning of this further, spoke these verses, quote, "When I was a prince, Rahula was my eldest son, and now that I have perfected the Buddha path, he accepts my teaching as the heir of the Dharma. In the future, he will meet immeasurable kotis of Buddhas. Becoming the eldest son of all these Buddhas, he will wholeheartedly seek the Buddha path. Only I am able to discern Rahula's unseen practice. But now that he has become my eldest son, he reveals it to the sentient beings. His thousands of myriads of kotis of merits are uncountable and incalculable. He will become established in the Buddha Dharma and seek the highest path." Then the Bhagavat perceived that the minds of those 2,000 people, some of whom had more to learn and some of whom did not, were sincere, mild, and receptive. they were all attentively gazing at the Buddha. The Buddha said to Ananda, quote, "Do you not see these 2,000 people, some of whom have more to learn and some of whom do not?" Ananda replied, "Yes, I see them." The Buddha said, quote, "O Ananda, all of these people will pay homage to the Buddha Tathagatas, whose number is equal to that of the grains of dust in 50 worlds. They will respect, honor, and preserve the treasure house of the Dharma, and will later all become Buddhas simultaneously in the worlds in the 10 directions. They will all have the same name, Ratnakaturaja, a Tathagata, Arhat, completely enlightened, perfect in knowledge and conduct, well departed, knower of the world, unsurpassed, tamer of humans, teacher of devas and humans, Buddha, Bhagavat. Their lifespans will last 1 kalpa. The adornments of their lands, the number of Sravakas and Bodhisattvas, and the duration of the true and semblance Dharma will be the same for all." Thereupon, the Bhagavat, wanting to elaborate on the meaning of this further, spoke these verses, quote, "Now in my presence, these 2,000 Sravakas have all received their predictions. In the future, they will all become Buddhas. The Buddhas they will revere will be equal to the number of grains of dust, just as mentioned above. Preserving this treasure house of the Dharma, they will later attain complete enlightenment. They will all have the same name and dwell in the lands of the 10 directions, all sitting at the exact same time on the terrace of enlightenment. They will attain the highest wisdom. All of them will be called Ratnakaturaja. Their lands, the number of disciples, duration of the true and semblance Dharma, will all be the same without any difference. Moreover, through their transcendent powers, they will save sentient beings throughout the 10 directions. Their fame will spread universally, and they will gradually enter nirvana." Then the 2,000 people, some of whom had more to learn and some of whom did not, having heard their predictions from the Buddha, rejoiced ecstatically and spoke in verse, quote, "O Bhagavat, the light of wisdom, we have just heard you give us our predictions, and our minds are full of joy, just as if we had been sprinkled with the Dharma of immortality."